Here we are, once again, back together in our slowly lifting isolation, in the days when possibilities are becoming realities. I can even imagine the day is near when we'll be free to be together once again, free to reach out and touch elbows. This week, I received a note pointing out that my messages are about how to live, not how to believe. I quote St. James in response. So you see, faith by itself is not enough. Unless it produces good deeds, it is dead and useless. However, I do accept the critique that I talk a lot about living Christianity and not how to believe. And really it's because I can only discuss living one's faith, not teaching one how to believe. Believing is such a uniquely personal thing. I can share with you why I believe and even why I think you should believe. I can tell you what I believe. I can present the evidence. I can do a Bible study or a history of Christianity seminar with you. But I cannot teach you how to believe. Each of us comes to faith in different ways. The cradle Anglicans' experience is so different from that of the convert in how they came to believe and how they practice that belief. Those who came to believe through studying the scriptures are not the same as those who attended the evangelist's service in a great tent where hundreds came forward to be received. Some have great depths to their faith based on their experiences in times of need, and others never question their faith. It's just part of their identity. The Jews are probably the most unique in that. There are those who see their faith as intrinsic to how they live their lives and the discipline that worship plays in it. And there are others who see Judaism as a national or a racial identity, as a member of one of the 12 tribes scattered all over the world. There are those who feel that they alone are part of the one and only true cult destined for sainthood, and others who believe that all who believe in a God are saved. I don't know what to say to those who believe, but believe differently than I do. For within the Christian faith alone, there are so many divisions. Here is a simple family tree, beginning with the first Christians, which lasted until 1054, when the great schism between Rome and Constantinople erupted, when Rome and the Orthodox parted ways. Then came more and more splits. The Church of England and the Lutherans, the Brethren, the Exclusive Brethren, the Pentecostals and Evangelicals, the Salvation Army, and the Independent Charismatics, the Baptist, Society of Friends, Congregationalists, and the Presbyterians. And those are just the broadest of categories. When I move to the next step of divisions, the charts are print too small for me to even read. Clearly, the three great splits within Christianity are those between the Roman Catholic, the Orthodox, and the Protestants. Yet each of us, indeed all of Christianity, knows that we're part of the Church of Jesus. Indeed, the word Catholic comes from a Greek phrase, which I have no intention of attempting to pronounce, which means of the whole, or the universal. Indeed, each week when saying the Creed, we attest, and I believe one, holy, Catholic, and Apostolic Church, while not at all suggesting we believe in the papacy. Rather, we believe in the universal church of all who believe in Jesus, and trust that with the second coming, all will believe and belong. I was fortunate. At 14, I walked through the doors of St. Paul's on Bloor Street and knew I had found my spiritual home. Now, many of the rites and practices of both the high and low Anglicans don't resonate with me. It's the style of the broad church that calls me. That I choose one way to worship over another says nothing about what is right or what is wrong. It's simply where I feel closest to God when at worship. Which is why I see no value in arguing with others over how they come close to God. Each of us has our own way to come to Jesus. Each of us hears his truth through through our own experiences and the practices of our religion. What sways one or convinces another may be a barrier to the third. There are a few truths that are so central to the Christian faith that I can't imagine how one can be a Christian without them. I have heard them so often that my heart repeats them to me whenever I am confused and need them. To the question, why Jesus? The answer comes in the Gospel of John. For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever believeth in him shall not perish, but have everlasting life. Or, you ask, what does Jesus expect of me? He made that very clear with his New Testament commandment. Love the Lord thy God with all thy heart, and with all thy soul, and with all thy mind, and with all thy strength. This is the first and great commandment, and the second is like unto it. Thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself. On these two commandments hang all the laws and the prophets. The 10 Commandments of the Old Testament, given to Moses, concentrate on telling us what not to do, not to steal, commit adultery, covet, and so on. But the new commandment that Jesus gave us assumes a maturity in the student, that we can determine what is right and wrong, what we ought to do, by deciding if we would want someone else to do it to us. And if so, do it. And if not, do not do it. What a simple, easy test to use for all the important decisions in life. These two statements really cover all that I feel are necessary to internalize in faith and to believe. I know that the creeds contain a variety of other commitments of belief that I repeat on a regular basis, but I'm not convinced that one must understand each word to commit to them. Some are so theologically complex, such as the Trinity, that to require anyone to do more than accept the statements on faith seems dangerous. Having spent years studying some of the best theologians' arguments, I still question some conclusions, particularly when they do not always agree with each other. And some people worry about getting the answers right. Are there 7 sacraments, or only 2? Can you divorce? Can you practice birth control? Can you seek medical assistance in dying at life's end? Or can you walk away from an abusive parent? At the end of the day, teachings on those subjects are humans interpreting to the best of their ability, and they change over time. Personally, I try to stick with the demands of God and Jesus. I believe that decisions made in good conscience will never bar us from God's love. And I trust that my loving God is also most understanding of my foibles and failures. But for me, the greatest puzzle is those who don't believe in anything. For me, I'm convinced that everyone would come to believe if they only had the chance to hear the word communicated so clearly that their heart could be touched and they could understand. For the truth cannot be told so as to be understood and not believed. Which brings me to a dear friend who I'm looking forward to meeting in the next world. He's a well-educated man who was raised a Presbyterian, but after a lifetime of studying has concluded that there is no afterlife. I tell him that I feel doubly sorry for his disbelief, because when we die, he will be unable to tell me, "I told you so," should he prove right. But I shall surely seek him out to say, "I told you so," and I will. Ultimately, I think that when one is seeking faith, practicing a Christian lifestyle facilitates finding it. When you work at forgiving others, at generosity to all, and reaching out to God, you are giving yourself the tools to find faith. So keep on keeping on. That's all you need on your faith journey. Just love and serve and seek. I hope you found a way to celebrate Mother's Day last Sunday. And I wanted to show you the polished and painted and flower decorated trophy. And now that I've shown you my efforts, it's headed for my daughter's restaurant to join other interesting pieces displayed there. Mother will be delighted. And now we come to this long weekend, celebrating Queen Victoria. Really is the day to celebrate having a constitutional monarchy. Whenever I look at the radical changes that come in republics, as parties and presidents change, I am so grateful that Canada chose a middle way. One that gives us a head of state who unites us and serves as a wonderful example of a life well lived, and a democracy that lets us change governments without all the drama and divisions of other lands. So, get out your noisemakers. I assume we are very short on fireworks, and celebrate, or at least raise a glass or a teacup in a toast to both Victoria and Elizabeth, and then see if you remember all the lines when you try singing God Save the Queen. May God be good to each of you, keeping you healthy and engaged and hopeful. And don't forget to log into that church service at 10:30 or 11 or noon. There's one out there for everyone. God bless.